Chukky Okobi back with more basic instructions of mind mastery. I want to dive deep into an aspect of mastering your mind for business and life that's being discussed more and more today in society and in the workplace. What's widely known as EQ, or emotional intelligence. Let's talk about emotions. See, some emotions feel really good. Like when you think about feeling the sensations of happiness, gratitude, love. Other emotions, when they come up for us, we'd rather not have to feel them. I mean, you can relate, like when you're frustrated, sad, or anxious. What's interesting, and you probably already knew this deep down, realize that there's no such thing as a bad emotion. See, emotions are neither good nor bad. Whether you feel happy or angry, all emotions are actually good. The label we put on the feelings we have, those words, are subjective to the individual. Saying that how I feel is good or bad, you realize that that's a judgment. It's not a fact. I'll go deeper and explain. See, there are two categories that we could separate them into. Emotions are either positive or negative. It's like this battery. You have a positive and a negative side to the battery, but I'm sure you'd agree there's no bad side to this battery. See, what most people don't consciously think about is that our emotions are simply energy in motion. Think about it. Emotions. Emotions are communication from ourselves to ourselves. That feeling simply lets you know that something is happening. There's activity in your mind and body at this moment. It's actually our interpretation of that energy in motion, the internal conversation that we have with ourselves about what we're feeling that determines which end of the spectrum that emotion's on, positive or negative. See, the thing is, because we first feel the energy in motion, then we must interpret what that feeling means. Then we use language and words to label and make sense of our emotions. The question you got to ask yourself is, what if the story I'm telling myself about the emotion that I'm feeling is inaccurate? What if I'm interpreting the communication from myself all wrong? See, this is where it gets deep, and why knowing the basic instructions of mastering your mind and emotions can be a real game changer. Now, we've already established that there are no such thing as good or bad emotions. They're all good. They're all communication from self. It's just you talking to you when you think about it. So think about your language, like when you say things like, I got a feeling about this. I just feel it in my gut, or this just feels right. All examples of labeling energy in motion, right? So what about when that energy doesn't feel so good? What's the language in our minds at these moments? What's my interpretation? What story am I telling myself about what I'm feeling? I mean, there's nobody in my mind but me. I'm the only one feeling this right now. I'm the only one telling the story about it. So if the feeling isn't what I like, and the story I'm telling about it isn't a positive one, perhaps what I'm feeling isn't the issue. Maybe it's the story I'm telling, how I'm interpreting my emotions. It's something to think about. Just consider what I'm saying. See, NLP, or neurolinguistic programming, is all about language and communication, the language we use to communicate with others. But more importantly, and what we're talking about right now, NLP is about the words and language that we use to talk to ourselves. Each of us in our mind is like the narrator of our own life, telling the story of our experience from moment to moment. Now, how we perceive and interpret our feelings is what makes all the difference. Mastering the internal conversation about our emotions is possibly the most powerful way to increase your EQ, or emotional intelligence. So when you're feeling negative emotions, the best thing I can do is pause, take a deep breath, and notice the story I'm telling myself. I mean, you're the only one in there telling the story. If you change the story, you change the meaning of that emotion. It really is that basic. Success is simple if you know the basic instructions of mind mastery.